Hey everyone, I'm Wa.
And I'm Chris, and welcome to the Docu-Sweeties.
We're two longtime friends who discuss the riveting and sometimes trashy world of reality TV and docuseries.
Yeah, our own lens, honey, which is ridiculous but fun, but also sassy, but a little cynical, but at the end of the day, hopefully mildly sweet. Bye.
Hi. All right, so today we're talking 90 Day Fiancé Before the 90 Days, Season 6, Episode 5, Suspect,
Mm-hmm.
starring Cher and Dennis Quaid. Chris and I didn't know about this movie until right this moment,
Mm-hmm.
but if you are on Patreon, you can see this lovely poster. Isn't Cher so beautiful?
Yeah, okay, I love this. Like, okay, this looks like obviously the suspect is in there with a gavel, so it's like law. We know it's law based. Like one of them is a suspect of something, but and is probably suspenseful and just also. I'm just gonna go ahead and go on a limb and say probably something sexy happens. Why? Oh, what does it say
Yeah.
up there? Can you read
Yeah.
that?
I was just
Okay.
going to read it. I was going to say she is a lawyer who
Broke two
two
laws. Oh,
laws of her own profession
profession.
never get involved with a juror and don't look for something in clues
Clues
in
in
dangerous
dangerous places.
places, and then below it says suspicion supreme suspect.
No, it says suspicion, suspense,
Oh.
suspect. Okay.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
we're trying to read this,
I know it's
this
really,
came
really
out
small.
when we
It's
were,
very
yeah,
small.
blurry.
Yeah,
But
on
also
Patreon
there's,
you can know we're doing the movie poster. So
yeah,
there's two movie posters, and one seems way more 90s, and one seems like the one that we just showed you. It feels like it's from like the 70s.
70s. Yeah.
Yeah. This one doesn't
Um,
even look real though. Like there's
yeah.
no other. This doesn't look. I look. Did I make this on Canva?
Yeah,
You
this
know.
looks like Air Force One's poster. Okay, anyways, so those of you guys
Yeah.
are not listening to us on Patreon or watching us on
I
Patreon, you
hate
won't know
this.
what we're doing.
I hate this.
So let's jump right into this episode. But first, Chris, do you want us to like say what you thought of the episode?
You know what? It just took some twists and turns that were uncomfortable for me to watch and upsetting for me. And so we'll talk about those things because like there was just like a lot of moments of me wanting to pause and jump out of my skin, but then being like, "You better keep going, or you better, or this is going to be a 5 hour long affair." You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so when those moments come up, you have to say, "This made me want to jump out of my skin," or you can just say, "Jump out of my skin." You can say whatever.
Okay.
All right, so let's jump into the first client. Jesus, where am I? Podcast, not work. Let's jump into the first couple, and that is Misha and Nicola.
Yes.
Ooh, all right.
Ooh, yeah. Like, I'm going to say a couple of things. First of all, she looks fabulous in every still. I mean, she's someone who came prepared, always is on, like, and there's a reason why, like, she is a professional. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Like, what
Mm-hmm.
is she? A professional. You
Yep.
know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
she comes ready, camera ready, no matter what time,
Yeah.
no matter, yeah. So, but, it's so funny because at first he just like rolls her over in her, like, I Love Lucy bed and he's like, "Misha, what is wrong with you? It is so late for you have slept so late." Like she just got there. You know what I'm saying? She's just like, okay. And then she's like, "Oh gosh," she like takes off her little head mask. I gotta spot one of those, by the way, one of those silk things. It's called Drowsy. I love it. It's a different one that she's wearing. And she's like, "Oh, is it like what time is it?" And I thought this man was gonna be like 1:45. You know what I'm saying? Like Misha. And he has the audacity to say, "It is already 7:45 a.m. at this brand new country you had just traveled to and your clock is everywhere." Like when he said that, I already was like, "Break up with him. Get back." No, I'm not saying you're perfect either, but in this moment, that's crazy. That's crazy.
And she does a really good job of pretending to be asleep and being like, "Oh my god, what time is it? Like, what? Hey, babe, hey!" Like, I mean, in the beginning, I thought maybe she was just waking up, but as soon as she like lifted that, I saw the full face. I mean, it wasn't full face; it was as natural as she's probably willing to go on television, but it was definitely like full foundation, some contour. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
There was definitely a lash happening. And maybe there was some color on the lid. Maybe it was foundation, but it was something light. And she looked refreshed and ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so she has a little she has a little confessionals outside where she's like, "We didn't do anything, we just did heavy petting." And
Mm-hmm.
then they turn to him in his like real confessionals, and he's like, heavy petting, what is that? And I thought the same thing too. As soon as I said it, I was like, you guys, the one thing I hate is when people use idioms and stuff like that. It's like, just stop it. But yeah, you're absolutely right. The next thing we have is she's steaming her clothes, and I said, listen, she's gonna make it work. She's in this small ass room, and the only place that she has to hang up her garment is on the TV, and she shall. And she brought a little steamer, which I thought was so cute. Oh, I thought that was so cute.
Yeah, no, I mean, she is a professional. She's looking good all the time, And if we thought like maybe she would like dial back kind of like her clothes everywhere because they're sharing the same space to see what that was like for her, like absolutely not. I'm kind of like, still, you're not like, hey, maybe we'll just get your own room. I don't know. Okay, so then they go. Oh, sorry, you want to say anything about that?
No.
Yeah, they're gonna go out and about, and he's excited to show her all the holiest places, like all the most holiest, saying it's a tour, because here's the thing, they fell in love over like hardcore Catholicism, so he can't wait to just do the thing he knows to get the hot woman that is out of his category, is just give her more Catholic shit. So like there's like the church I'm not quite sure. Okay, actually I shouldn't say anything because I don't know what any of those places are, and I should, like, they're all Holy Land things, and my dad and my mom went there, and I think one of them is the Church of the Holy Skeptiker, or something like that. I'm not quite sure. And I don't know if that's what he saw, but like those places, like, those are some, olden time, early Catholic places. And okay. Now, I don't know if they don't have which is probably true, like the license to film and any of that. I was kind of like, I would have loved to see like the insides of those places. Can we see that? Like, but instead what we got, which was a lot of them sitting on a step and then going over a very simple disagreement / contrast, which is that her whole life knows about him because she gave up everything to go visit him. Her kids, they've been talking about it, all the daughters, and what's it going to be like. Like, all she's been doing is talking about him. And then she gets there, and this is a whole ass virgin who's never been with anyone. And she looks like that. So she is like, oh, so like, I'm gonna meet your mom and stuff like that. And he's just like, Mom, why would you meet my mom? And she's like, well, because I came here to see if we're going to spend the rest of our Catholic lives together. And that means in the future, forever, all the time. And your mom's going to be a part of that, and he's just like, bleh. So he then also sort of just confesses that like, he sort of half told his family, like some brothers know about her, some don't. And his overall reaction to her having any sort of trepidance about that is just to laugh it off in a really horrible, immature way. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, he just has no idea what he's getting into. He has no idea. And all he has is his firm belief that as the man, that he can just say, I'm a man and everything's going to be okay and stop talking about it. And it's supposed to be okay. Meanwhile, she is a grown ass, fucking professional ass woman. Okay. She's not here for the fuck shit. She's going to talk. You're going to talk. She's not 20 years old and like believing in your nonsense. She's like, yes, Father, Son, Holy Ghost. Oh man. You know what I'm saying? But if we're going to merge ourselves, we've got to be able to talk to each other. And none of this chauvinistic machismo bullshit is going to go for me. And he's just giggling. And she's like, listen, okay, I understand that you deflect because you like to chuckle, but that doesn't make me feel good. Doesn't make me feel good. So then they have then he's like, oh, Misha, all she wants to do is be with me. She wants all this intimacy. She wants me to put glue in my hand and hold her hand in glue. And I'm just like, you should be fucking lucky that she wants to breathe the same air as you. So back at the hotel afterwards, Chris, what do you have to say?
So she's not, she's still like hot off that because he not only hadn't told people in his life, and he's like literally like a peasant, you know what I'm saying? So like, what the hell is he gonna talk about anyone with all the time? Or like, how much God can you talk about with, instead to also be like, by the way, I met the love of my life. So I totally get her. And so like, he's been weird about it. They get back to the hotel and he's like, he is being condescending towards her about her feeling anything, like, oh, almost like he wants to be like, what are you on your period? But instead of being like that, it's like, we must be so tired. But also, you woke her up at 7:45. But also being like, you must be so tired, you must be so hungry, Misha, you hardly ate anything. And she's like, well, it's because I came here to talk to you about things, and your reaction is just, it's a lot for me, and I'm not being able to get it. And he responds with, oh, you are the most cute when you are mute, Misha. And all of us were like, mm-mm. La. Nope, nope, no, no. La means no. Also means la 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 la, but also means like no 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 la 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 la. Okay, so
yeah,
it's so condescending, and here's I'm going to be very honest. If you want to be in a situation where like a guy, you know, like feels like he can, you know, sort of like have a traditional gender role over you, hats off, that's fine. But that only works if you respect the man as being someone who knows his shit, who got his shit together. And a lot of females have a hard time because they don't think they have met a man that got their shit together as much as either they do or even other females in their life. This woman is a whole ass professional who like has fucking fucked her whole life and probably had the best sex ever with really hot guys because she's gorgeous, okay? And she has traveled all over the world. This man has never left ever Palestine/Israel, whatever he wants to call it or whatever, that he doesn't even understand how fucking like jet lag works. So that wouldn't even be a process in his mind. So you're supposed to put your trust in some very small-minded person who doesn't know how life works and who wants to like assert his opinion as being the dominant one when he has never really made money. He doesn't really know how life works. He's not a good fucking lover at all. You wouldn't know that. Like none of it. He doesn't know how women work. And so she knows all this. And I think it's like really coming into like this is what it feels like. It'd be coming into understanding of like you are working with a child who doesn't know he's a child or is insecure on the deepest level. They'll never let you know that he feels insecure.
Yep. I mean, you summed it up perfectly. And another way to sum it up would be what Jill Scott said a few years ago on The Breakfast Club. And she says, you can only tell me what to do if you can tell me what to do. If you can't tell me what to do, you can't tell me what to do. And Misha and Nicola can't tell Misha what to do. All right. So at this moment, you guys, we're going to take a break, hear from us as we talk about Spotify for podcasters, and then we're going to come back. All right, you guys, now we're back. Hi. So we're going to move on to our next single. He's not a fucking couple, and he's still on the show, and we don't understand why. And I don't know if this made you jump out of your skin, Chris, but this made me like, at this point, I'm not into it anymore. We're on episode 5 and he is still here being delusional AF, and that is Ty Ray with this awkward ass smile. For those of you guys who are seeing this on Patreon, he looks skeptical, like he doesn't know if this picture is the right picture for him.
You know what he looks like? He looks like he is being bullied in a hallway in high school, and the head principal comes by and he's like, Ty Ray, are you okay? And he's like, yes. But he doesn't want to say no because like they're right behind him in the locker, like being like, don't you fucking say it. Like it's a pained expression. And in his pain watching him a little bit.
Yes. So we have him and his sister, and they go to a farmer's market and they get lemonade, which is the sister ends up wasting later on, and it upsets me some reason. Why am I still mad that she dropped it? Right? It looked so delicious and I couldn't have it, and the person who had it dropped it. But anyways,
she was mad too, though. So she wasn't. At least she wasn't like whatever. She was like, no. Yeah. I mean, I feel like that. All over her shoes, it's red. Oh god.
Yeah, she was like, how did the hell did that happen? So, anyways, she is with him, and he is talking about how he still doesn't believe it's not true, and she has no idea, is not understanding how her brother is so delusional. She didn't realize that she was gonna come be on this show dealing with her delusional brother. She had no idea until he made up some crazy ass story as to where she could have been. I don't know, in prison, and then she came out or something, and then her husband like took over her phone, and I don't know. Like and listen, we're watching a person have like a mental fit, and it doesn't feel fun, because when this person said this out loud to a camera crew of producers who are only going to exploit him, I said, "Oh, you're on a," because I think of crazy things all the time,
Oh,
right? But
well, I don't know.
I know that they're not real.
Okay.
So, Chris, what do you say?
Yeah, like what it the okay, so w- this is what I want to know. Okay, well, this is what I want to know. Sometimes I don't know if Tyree doesn't want to say this. Oh, I don't care if Christian's a guy, but I just don't know. Like, and because I think that Tyree is like, you don't understand. At this point, I'm in love with the person. I'm in love with the person, or I just can't believe that the person behind there doesn't have an honest connection with me due to what we said. So I don't know how to say that without so then there's like these kind of like fantasies of, oh, it's a person that was in jail or whatever, but then this next fantasy that happens after he's given more information is so banana also crazy that this is where we have to like also break this down. Who's doing the most, right? The sis comes back, she looks super cute, they're eating like the popcorn, all other stuff, she drops a drink, as I said, whatever. She's like, look, since last we saw each other and I did like the image search, like I like did more research whether she got someone involved, and went to a laptop, there's someone else was like, let me show you, but someone else like that looks familiar, who knows, whatever, because God bless. She's like, I found an escort page that this person has, and the person on the escort page like talks about what areas the person works in, and it's all up and down Southern California. The person has an Amtrak, honey, like whatever it is, or that person is a mover and shaker up and down. I mean, from the top to the bottom. This person, I was like, you get around. I mean,
Yeah.
but it's also kind of by where Tyree's from, and so he is like flabbergasted. He like calls the number immediately, but blocks his call so they don't pick up. And then he tries to text them, and the sister's like, "What are you going to text them?" And he's like, just like something totally normal and chill, just like, "Hey, you look familiar. I was wondering if I could talk to you and if you were available because you look familiar." Which is now going to come from his phone number. I don't think you can text from an unknown number.
You're right.
I know. So then he has that number, and something else happens where then he just immediately searches that number on the internet and finds even more escort pages with even more numbers, more pictures, all of it. And then this is where, wow, do you want to take it away? This is where it's really bad.
He's like, oh my God, maybe he's a pimp. Maybe it's the pimp. Maybe Christian's the pimp and she's the hoe. And so he's like talking to me. He's been talking to me for 4 years to get money out of me. And the sister's like, what? Okay. No. I think my brother would have just gotten up and walked away. Like, he's a man of so little words that he would have just been like, "Why am a what?"
He would have taken you away. I think your brother would have been like, if he realized you were in a, as you said, mental fit at this point, he'd be like, "Oh, cool. Producers, we're good. Like, I'm gonna like,
Yeah.
I gotta take her away. Like right now, like just like, we're gonna wrap it up for today. Wrap it up for today. Just like, see you later. But I'll call you. I'll call you. I mean, it'd just be like,
Yes. He would take me away. He would, yeah, you're right. He would be like, this crazy. Nah. We got to stop this. My sister is not okay. She's not okay. My sister is not okay. She's not okay.
"Hey, Wam, my love, did we take your mic for some reason? I hear a difference. Did something happen?"
Okay, hold on.
Okay. I just also, want to say this. So it's also crazy because it's very obvious that someone has taken this person's pictures that is an escort or whatever, or not, just a hot woman, and is not in the country. It feels very much like Christian or whoever exists, and this person is not living anywhere in California. So it's just crazy that Tyree would not understand the simple logic of, this woman, this picture is not who you were ever talking to. So yeah, this is an escort or not an escort or whatever. The person you're talking to is a completely different person.
Yeah.
Oh, so much better.
Okay, great. Yeah, my mic unplugged. I don't know how.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think that Carmela is a made up person, male in an island, and the person who is on the escort is that person who's on escorts, or maybe not even that person who's on escorts. Like, we don't know. You could ask for Carmela and get sent to a completely different black woman. But I mean, that's really all we have to say, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's move on to our next actual couple, and that's David and Sheila. We actually have David and Sheila back, and We pick up where they just met each other at the airport, and they are on their way to his hotel. And of course, they have to take away the sound to let us know what the world is like for him. And he's just looking, and she doesn't know what he's feeling.
Yeah.
And it's hard for her because she says she doesn't sign very well, which she doesn't, but she signs, I thought, okay, for their first meeting, but she's not confident in it.
Mm-hmm.
So she is like sitting next to him, not quite knowing what's going on. And he's just like, what in the heck? I'm from Nebraska, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, I have a question for you as a traveler, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
When these folks say that it took them 30 hours to get wherever it is that they're, this part of the world, do you think to yourself there could have been not cheaper, there could have been a more expensive yet faster flight?
I just take into account that they definitely had at least a layover, their Camden layover.
Because I'm just like, 30 hours? I know it takes 24 hours to get to Australia. And so I'm like, the Philippines is, I don't know which way you would go. Here's the truth. I don't know which way the planes fly. Do they fly over the States No, they probably fly over the Pacific. And I want to look it up maybe while you talk and see how much a fucking flight to the Philippines is. And if it takes 30 hours, 30 hours is too long.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that they fly to Australia. I mean, when you tell me, you're obviously on mute, and you'll tell me. So, they are on their way to food, and they go to like a fried chicken restaurant, which, by the way, looks so good. And like when I'm done with my theater show that I've been doing for the past month, and right by the theater show was these two Asian chicken places, and one is like cluck something like it's just the best fried chicken anyway. God bless. I was like saw it and I was like, yum. And she has to kind of get on the stool to order because she has to kind of point, and he has to like kind of pick her up and like, take her off. And he's just like, oh, order me whatever you want. And so she gets like the adobo, he's super hungry. He says, I don't know how to do that. But then he also has to use the bathroom a lot. And so at this point, I start to get physically somewhat turned off by watching the storyline. And I'll say it happens here, and then it gets a little more progressive where I almost become like a mild April watching this storyline. Okay. So that's what I'm going to like say, where I'm like, oh God, where it's like, it's building inside me. Thank God I don't have to interact with anyone, but I'm not happy about like anything about it. So he pees in an alley. Like, I don't know if he washed his hands are going, like, I don't know any of that, like, and then they go get their food to go. Then they go to the hotel, and the hotel is not the cleanest, and they have to push their beds together to make one bed. And when she does that, my loves, something is in the hotel room with them, and they kill it on the floor, and we cut to it so many times that again, like, I just want you to like of a process with me. I'm already now at this point, I am like I want to throw up. So what happens next? That really makes me lose my mind.
So she's like, it's okay. And I'm like glad for her. I'm glad that it's okay for her in that moment. And she picks it up and she's just like, whatever. But like, she's used to it, I must be, because if that were me and I live in the States where there are roaches, I would still be upset. And so he's like, they, did false advertisement. So like, he's like, and I'm like, yeah, you probably paid a good price for it, which means that it wasn't the right place.
He actually said he wanted cheap, and he said he like looked for a cheap place.
Oh, he did. And he thought he was getting like a good, yeah. I mean, listen, I looked it up, and the flight to Cebu, not necessarily Manila, but Cebu, Philippines. If you pay almost $3,000, you get a 22-hour flight, and there is one stop in Seoul for 3 hours. So I'm like, oh, that sounds like a steal. You get to go to Seoul for a couple hours,
For $3,000?
Yeah, I mean that's what it costs, $3,000.
Is there a cheaper version?
Yeah, yeah. The cheaper version is four stops.
Yeah, how many and how? Yep,
which is not Wahamelino.
that is David.
Yeah, David. I'm like, woo. Oh no, the cheaper one is two. No. Cheaper one is 2 stops, and where do you stop? You stop somewhere interesting. 2400. Where do you stop in 2400? It's American Airlines, so. And I don't know where you stop. In CEB, which I don't know where CEB is. Looks like that is, they have one stop in LaGuardia, then one stop in JFK, and then one stop in Hong Kong.
How do you have a stop in LaGuardia and a stop in JFK?
Girl, that's what I'm saying.
No, so there's no way. What are you talking about?
Hold on. Wait. Hold on. So it is Minnesota. I'm doing from Minnesota. He's from Nebraska, right? So it's not that far.
Okay.
So let's say Minnesota to LaGuardia. Okay. Then you have a 5-hour and 55-minute layover in LaGuardia, and you transfer to JFK. And then you're at JFK for 2 hours and 30 minutes. And then you go to Hong Kong. And then you're in Hong Kong. And then you have a 2-hour and 50-minute from Hong Kong to Cebu.
There is no way that there is not a flight just to JFK. There is no reason to go to LaGuardia to not go. Okay, well that's the.
You fly from here to here. You fly from here. This is Queens to here, and this is Brooklyn. It's so crazy. But anyways, like that sounds wild to me. Let me get my good little 3,000 for Philippines, because I am not. One layover max, and someplace fabulous. I can only imagine the airport in Seoul is fabulous.
I would love it.
Yeah. Which is Korea, for those of you who are not aware. Yeah, so he does that, and then he this is the part that made Chris jump out of her skin. Chris and I are both waiting for him to go shower, because we can tell that he's a sweat hottie mess.
He doesn't look clean at all. I feel for his I feel for him, in so many ways. It's just that, what, this is what also happened. Like I said, this is when we saw the pictures of him, I couldn't talk just then, but when we saw the pictures of him in high school, when he thrived, when I saw the pictures of him now, I was like, oh my God, I see a health decline. It's a palpable looking health decline. And I want him to feel better about himself. But at the same time, there also comes like a certain, I need those hygiene levels up. I need a moment of the hygiene levels up. I need the teeth. I need everything. I need the hair. I need the clothes. I need everything to look like they don't smell all the time, and there to be like a healthier aspect of him happening, radiating. Okay, that's what I have to say.
Okay, yeah. He doesn't shower, and then he gets in the bed, and he says that he's too excited because he hasn't had sex in 3 years to shower. And everybody, I don't know everybody, everybody has their different levels. It's like, oh no.
She deserves to have sex with a clean man.
Yeah.
Why aren't you thinking about her?
He just peed in the alley. And not to say that, like, that's not part of her, like, telling him to go pee there, but, like, no, not me. So, anyways, I hope I have a great next day. The next couple that we're going to talk about is Gino and Jasmine. All right. So, with Gino and Jasmine, he goes to a bar, and he would like a light beer. And the bartender, which in my captions put barmaid, and I was like, wow, these captions are really sexist, because like the bartender is a bartender regardless of gender. And she's there, and listen, let me tell you, she says she speaks English, and the way he speaks English, you would think maybe she wouldn't understand him, but she followed that story and gave great advice. She was like, what's up? And he's like, my fiance, and I brought up a prenup, and she doesn't want to talk about the prenup. And the girl's like, well, why would you bring such negativity into the relationship? Of course, that's not normal here. Most people don't do prenups. And I'm like, yeah, most people are not both two wealthy people, right? Like, he's doing a prenup when I understand the reason why he's doing it, but he's responsible for her for 10 years regardless. So if you are an American who's bringing someone from a different country to the States, you might as well just lock in, like take the seatbelt, buckle yourself in, because you are regardless responsible for them for 10 years, unless they married another American. But even then, I don't know. So he knows that he is not good for Jasmine. He knows that him and Jasmine are not good together. He knows it, which is why he wants the prenup. If he truly felt that him and Jasmine were going to live the rest of their lives in bliss, I don't think he would want a prenup. That's just my opinion. Chris.
I love what this bartender says. She's like, why would she have to give you all of her if you're not willing to give her all of you? And he's like, well, I have some investments, or whatever. And she's like, I mean, I'm going to tell you this right now. Do I want to agree with Jasmine? No. Do I think that Jasmine is, wanting certain things and very obvious about it? Yes. But do I ultimately agree with her about this? Yes. And I'll tell you why. She is leaving everything that she has and knows to go over there, and she's not going to be protected because she's an immigrant and she's a woman and she, and all the things like whether she gets her green card or not, like I don't think she, all of it. And his family does hate her. And she's very, for him, good looking. So she brings to the table things that he really wants. And what he brings to the table is not as much, but he can provide a certain amount of security that she has been upfront about. Upfront, the hair, everything. I mean, the way that she was like, this is what I require to be your wife, has been said in a way that I feel like is admirable. Now, the way that she behaves in every other aspect, I'm not going to co-sign or get behind. So in this way, to have this like beautiful bartender who really like, knows her beer really well, like say this in such a way, I got it, like, because I agree. He doesn't have anything to offer her. He's really horribly ugly and he can't fuck her and he's not a social person. So like all that he is offering her is a chance to go to America and money. Okay, so like let's be honest. And what he gets is to get whatever he gets to walk around with her and feel however he feels about that. And that is a huge win for him. Huge. His whole life he's been made to feel shitty and ugly and like he wants to walk around with what he thinks is a hot piece and he's willing to go put up with everything because he in his way wants to feel like this woman loves him and her passion and fiery passion only further cements her undying love for him. Whether it's true or not, it's what he wants to believe and he has to pay the price. And there is just men out here that are cheap. And if you want something, you have to pay the price. And I don't care if you think it should be cheaper, it's not. The hair isn't cheaper, she's not cheaper. Now, I'm not saying she's worth it, but if you want what she's is selling, that's the price she's, that's the price. Great.
Yeah. We have a scene where she fake cries on a rooftop bar with her sister, which I feel is very manipulative because the sister is only loving her so much and she's just like, but I love you. And the cry is just so ridiculous. Now, I know I saw a picture of her from like prior where she looks different. Like, I'm going to switch pictures. Okay, so everybody on Patreon, you see this picture of her in your mind, right? Okay, now switch. This is what she used to look like. And the truth is, I think she's beautiful either way. I enjoy her curly hair. It's like her sister's, but I just felt like that scene was just too annoying. So then we get to the house and she puts on a little pink or red dress. I couldn't tell. And she like goes off and her sister's like, where you're going? And she's like, no, meet Gino. So she goes to see Gino and she gets there and she sits down and she was at that point willing to acquiesce to the prenup because she loves Gino. And he at that point took the bartender's advice and was just like, listen, I don't want that. And it was cute. They had this moment and then she's like, baby, would you consider having a will? And then he freaks the fuck out over Will. And I'm like, maybe she doesn't understand that once they get married, she will by default get everything. Unless he has some kind of living trust set up and makes it so that other people get things. But she's trying to protect herself. But before she says that, there's this one moment where she tries to give this man some lentils. And I don't know exactly what Gino thinks about lentils, but whatever it is, it's akin to Brussels sprouts. It's akin to whatever nasty vegetable you were forced to eat as a child. And I'm going to say that I have never had a bad lentil. Chris, have you ever had a bad lentil?
Love a lentil.
I've never had a bad one, so I didn't understand why he was like, I mean, like a child. And then he eats it, and he's like, oh, that's not bad. I'm like, bitch, stop lying. The shit is good, okay? A well-seasoned lentil is fucking delicious.
I agree. Remember that time that Jasmine, he was like, "Oh, Jasmine, you look nice," and Jasmine was like, "You do as well, do you know?" And you were like, "Okay, just wondering." Remember that part? You know that the internet streets, which is tweets, some people were like, "What if Jasmine's sister is her child?"
Wow.
I'm
We
just,
just think that Jasmine was out here in the streets just popping them out and leaving them with her mother.
or not wanting us to think that she's older than she is, or something like having an.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I felt bad for the sister slash daughter slash sister in the sense that like she had to watch this person be absolutely bananas. And
Hmm.
like, could you imagine just like, okay, so we're gonna move into this high luxury apartment for 1 month, and then when I'm gonna go to America, and I don't know where you're gonna go, like what is the, because she's there, like I don't know. Do you want to go on to
Yeah, let's
Razvan?
move on to Razvan and Amanda. I mean, what is there to say besides they're in a car ride after she got upset about him talking to his agent or his director, or whoever the fuck, and he starts to cry.
Yeah, and then she's just like, I just feel like you haven't really been catering to me or making me feel or like caring about how I'm doing at all or doing anything for me this whole time. And we were like,
Wow, you're a mean bitch.
the coffee, the pancakes, bitch, like all like what? I mean, yeah, she's so crazy. Like she's a bananas unhinged person, and he is putting up with it for see how long. Like I'm not quite sure. Like I didn't know if the crying was manipulative anyway. Like it's just I can't quite tell like who's what, but I do know that the scene ends with her putting on the best baby voice she can. A really, really baby voice and being like, "Are we okay? You promise? I love you."
Oh my god. Blech.
Like, is she gonna go home now and fuck the shit out of him and like suck every part of his D? Like
I
all of it
mean,
now? Is that what they're crying for? Like, if that happens after this, if I'm
no.
just that's my little like, we'll just see.
Yeah, we'll see. Indeed, you do. Okay, let's move on to Christian and Chloe. Okay, so you want to start this one out?
He's 30. He does have a little receding hairline for a 30-year-old, like, because now that I showed that it's like this is Nicola, and he has whatever he is. I don't mean like he's like in his 40s or something. We've already talked about that. Christian, I mean, I'm saying okay.
That happens. I went to college with some guys that were receding in college, so it
Okay, well.
happens to them. It's their mother's fault.
Why are you blaming the mom?
Oh, because when men have receding hairlines, it's from the mother's side.
Always? How could that be?
I don't know.
Always?
I read a study.
Oh.
Maybe it's changed since I first looked it up, but
Hmm.
you usually get it from the maternal side of the family.
Okay, so he is having breakfast with his bud Christian. Wait, he's Christian. His bud is named
I can't remember.
Tom.
Like
Tom.
yeah.
And then Tom has a girlfriend with
Mhm.
eyeliner. Okay, so
Mhm.
those are the suspects at play. He loves his friend Tom, and they've been like friends for a long time. And they're I forgot the word. Wow, there's a word not like Rainbow Brothers, like when you've like done the
Oh,
same girl.
I don't know what that's called.
He's so proud of that. He's like, we've dated the same women.
Yeah, I think it's because he probably thinks Tom is a handsome dude.
Uh-huh. So he this whole and this whole breakfast is like centered around the fact of how hard they party, how much they drink. Whoa, I don't know if everyone always parties like us. We're wild. We do more than moderate drinking. It's just like thou doth talk too much about drinking. That makes me think that you've never drunk. I mean, what I'm saying, it's like gave me vibes of like the person that tries to act drunk when they're like 17 and had like a sip of Maduri sour. You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna say that Minnesota culture is surprisingly, at least in Minneapolis, it's a lot about drinking.
I get that.
It's like
You're cold.
yeah,
Like
it's like 6 months out of the year there is literally shit to do. So I just imagine, and like they've tried so hard because you don't have liquors in the grocery stores the way you do in California. So you actually specifically have liquor stores, and they close early. They like close at 8, like maybe 10, but like, and then they're separate from the grocery store. So they're like their own stores. It's just so weird. It's different than California, and that's their way. And they're closed on Sundays, all of them. So it's just it's like you can't buy any liquor on Sundays. So it's just like it's so interesting how like bars and alcohol is just like such a part of the zeitgeist here. Like people are like drinking with their parents at a certain age, whatever. I don't know that to be true, but I just said it. So uh so yeah, they talk about that, and they have the girlfriend who like I'm like, what does she see in Tom? Not that Tom is not, whatever, but like he is wearing a tank top, and she has decided to wear a sensible gray turtleneck, and her boyfriend slash whoever he is wearing like a red pink tank top with gray trimming. And I couldn't get over it, Chris. Like I could not get over the fact that this man was wearing a tank top on TV.
Oh, God, isn't that so weird? I don't remember clocking that or thinking any certain way about it, but
I was very upset about it.
Um,
Hair of the dog. He drank whiskey in the morning with the breakfast in order to like get over his hangover.
Yeah, that seems it's not a good sign. But I will say, I want to just call out how yummy the OJ looked that was on that table. Like it looked real fresh. Like that person, like like that was at least like $7 OJ. Like I looked real fresh. So, but here basically, this is where kind of like the love story that we've been introduced to and somewhat been maybe excited about starts to take a turn that starts to be, oh no, a little bit in our hearts and our minds. For me, I don't want to say us, but you too, Well.
Yeah, I wish that he wouldn't have talked so poorly about his family.
I wish he had not told. Okay, so what had happened? He said, he's very Christian, all his big ass family. We've been knowing that or whatever. But so then he decides to tell us that, or he decides that to tell some people in his family, but those some people with big mouths told all of the people because that's what happens with family. And does he not know that? I mean, okay, yeah, but yeah. So anyway, but because of that, now everyone's in his ear and being negative, and Tom's like, it sucks, but they're old. So, like we don't know how to not be, so it becomes like a shitty situation because Christian had kind of been so cool at first of being like, I'm going to be respectful of Chloe and like, whatever, where she is in certain places. And then I don't know, like who he told that just decided to not be, trustful with it because now he's being influenced by their decisions and their like attitudes toward it. And then it makes us start to feel that Chloe isn't going to be as safe as we would like Chloe to be. Chloe sometimes gives me Nicole vibes, Nicole and Usman, no, Nicole and
Mahmoud.
Mahmoud, yes.
Mahmoud.
In that Chloe is aesthetically doing the most and pristine. Her nails are like this beautiful brown ombre. All like when we cut to Chloe, I'm like, it's obvious that everything is stylistic on point. Her palette of clothes that she's packing is just like these beautiful neutrals. Like
neutral.
I loved it. I loved it.
I know you did. I know you did. And I was like, I noticed it and I was like, Chris, this is like not the same aesthetic, but the color palette of like just classic lady, simple, affected, like not affected. I don't know what that means, but like just, yeah, I saw it. And she's unpacking. She has her 2 cats. And she's like being really realistic. She's like, he's weird now. He's not going to want to kiss me. And I'm like, is he like saying he doesn't want to kiss her because his family's going to watch this show and see him kiss a trans woman? So, and this, listen, when he went to go visit his friends, there had been no snowfall. When his friend picked him up, there was snow. So I'm like, this is around the time that you and I were there in Minnesota. This is November time. And he's going, because the first snow fell when we unpacked my truck. So like I just am like so sad for the experience that she's gonna have now. And I wish that he had just bowed out and said that I couldn't do this, because now we know that his family, listen, I'm gonna say that a lot of people's family would feel a certain way, especially the older generation. But I would never throw them under the bus in the way that he has done to make us now think and believe that his family are like a bunch of bigots and like anti-gay. or whatever. Not anti-gay, but like anti-LGBTQAIA plus. And that's the part what made me uncomfortable. You? Sorry, Chris?
No, I wonder why he told them, or if some of them found out in such a way, like, because I guess, yeah, I was just surprised because of how respectful he was earlier. He had to have known that word would get out and people would whatever. So it really did put a damper on it, and it set up this situation to be now like a suspenseful thing for us to be like, is he going to be weird or cringy meeting her? Which is, I don't want to be in that place as a
Yeah.
spectator.
Yeah.
Like, I want to be in a place of thinking that Christian is, did Christian not just tell his family, be like, oh, I'm pansexual. Yeah, so she's trans and I'm pansexual. So I guess that didn't happen. That wasn't a conversation.
Yeah, I think that's what he thought he was gonna do, or what he told Tom and Jana that I don't know, he told, not Tom and Jana, he told the other friends before that he was like very much like it is what it is. But then like when I think it's just, and she said it, Cleo, that she's used to judgment and ridicule, but people who are hetero cis white males may not be used to that being attacked, and now it's being attacked and he doesn't know how to handle it because maybe he's going to lose his family. I don't know, but it's just a storyline that I'm not interested in.
Yeah, she's
that part of it.
Oh yeah, well now, yeah, and she's, she very much is like, I don't know what's going to happen when he sees me at the airport, like if he's going to think I'm feminine enough, or whatever. And that part really was the first, like, it made me upset because I did not realize, like, I thought that we had gotten past that. And so I was happy to have gotten past that kind of but maybe maybe that's the privilege. Maybe that would be something that would always be there. I don't know. I just didn't, it makes me sad. I hope that it turns out well, I guess. It's like, I want this to be I don't want this to be a really bad story at the airport. So
yeah,
we'll see. Literally, I'm like, okay, because I really like Chloe. And yeah, she, she gives me that Nicole vibe in someone who I also like feel like needs to be protected in ways, like, because I think this person is a good person and like goes through life a little bit, like feeling vulnerable.
Yeah.
In a way that Nicole gives me like those kind of vibes too, even though Nicole is like, whatever, just not autistic, or I don't think she has said that, but and they're but like that autistic, that artsy aesthetic leaning. So
yeah.
All right. Yeah.
All right. So last couple is Riley and Violet. Riley and Violet. I keep, to me, I'm gonna be honest with you. Riley is a girl's name to me. And so every time I think to say their name, I'm saying to like, oh, like, ooh, but that's not, it trips me up. So we've got Riley and Violet, and we see him in the morning. He gets up, he's like getting dressed, and I think that I'm going to see some kind of routine of like the morning. I think I'm going to see some moisturizer go on. I think I'm going to see, like, I don't know, something. But he just sprays 2 giant dollops of whatever that smell is on his neck, and that's it. I mean, just that's it. He just puts on clothes and he's like, I'm really upset that Violet isn't going to be here with me because it's, it feels like she's not making time for me. I flew all this way. And whenever someone says I flew all this way, and listen, I get it. You came there to see someone. But also, if you were me, who's like, sure, I came here to see you, but also I'm in Vietnam. So like, I don't need to be with you every step of the way. Like, I can go off and like enjoy the city on my own, and you and I can do whatever. And the fact that for me, it's like, I don't know if she told us she had something to do at school, and that's where she works. So it also makes sense to me that she would have something to do at work. That also, how is she 100% sure that he's coming? She's probably talking to a bunch of different guys, or she's probably talked to different guys at different points, and they were like, I'm gonna come visit you, I'm gonna come visit you. So it wasn't until he like touched down and seemed like he was really into her that she was like, I'll make time for you. Because the truth is like, she could have been like, he's probably coming here, but he isn't coming here for me only. There's probably other girls he's talking to. I'm just thinking all the things she could be thinking.
I like that, because I mean, I'm gonna be also say that he is a whiny little boy, like, and you called out not really enjoying him early on, and I didn't see anything, but this episode made me, like, not be into him for lots of reasons. But let's just, so basically, so he is upset that she has to do something else. And he registers this having to do something else as being a personal choice that she's made. Like, he makes it seem like she was like, yeah, you're here, but I totally made plans like last night with some girls to go for brunch or whatever, or get my nails done. And so like, I'm gonna go get my brunch, my nails done. I'm gonna go see like a silent movie by myself and like do a yoga class, and then I'll meet up with you, like that. But she's at this place called the Independence Palace. Okay, so that's where she goes to school / work. We're not quite sure exactly what she was doing, but before so then he has a FaceTime with his boo, and he lays it all out like, yeah, I got here, but it's kind of weird because she won't see me, wah, 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 cry, cry, cry. And also, wah, 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 cry, cry, cry. I got her this gift, and she wasn't like, on her knees, just like being like, thank you, oh Lord, oh Master, or whatever. And he's like, it's pearls. And then that girl, whoever he's talking to, I don't know if it's a sister or the friend, is just like, let's get the pearls back, which I was like, you can't be serious, but it is funny. But no, you cannot do that,
Yeah, you're right.
And then he's like, well, I have other presents, so we'll see if she makes it up so I can give her the other presents, like a ring. And so then he shows the ring. She's like, that looks like a band. He's like, no, it's a promise band, wedding band wing. It's a promise that I'll marry you wedding band. No, it's not just a regular wedding band.
Yeah.
It's a promise that I'll marry you one.
Which is like crazy. That's an engagement ring. I promise I'll marry you. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. So she meets him at this museum / like outdoor park called Independence Palace, where I guess after the 20 years war in Vietnam, which is like, God bless you, made it through. And she shows him all the tanks, and he wants to talk about his feelings. And she's like, I'm sorry, you're in Vietnam. We don't talk about our feelings here. At least I don't. So like, it's in the past. Like, it happened. I'm not going to do it. So it's okay. I get it. You felt some kind of way, but like, I don't want to talk about it. So let's move on. Okay, great. I don't have the nomenclature in your language to fully like say how I feel. So like, I don't want to have this conversation. Okay. You see that tank? It's great. It's 50 years old. You want to do there? And he's like, I feel like you're not, understanding me, Violet. And you're not like telling me what I need to hear because you don't understand, like you brush it away. And she's like, yeah, because I don't understand your language and I don't speak it well enough to like truly explain to you how I feel. So
yeah, also you're a man, and in my culture, men aren't so like whiny. And all you've been is a whiny, sweaty, whiny person. And then after he's like, oh, also like, can we just like go ahead and just like slow down the whole of this whole like walking thing a little bit, because it's hot as hell in your country, which it is, God bless. And he's wearing what looks like a very very also like thick cotton thing, and it's just sweat to the bone. He's like, also my knees hurt. She's like, well, okay, do you want to take a seat? He's like, no, I can keep going. I just I don't want you to think I'm any less of a strong man, because I know how much you love strong man, but my knees, my poor knees, just like, after you wouldn't hang out with me, I hope you like me in his pearls, just like he's just so that, like, and she's, it's not probably something that she's used to.
Yeah.
Ever. Come on.
Yeah, she's like, man up, and I feel the same way. Anyways, so I mean, I feel like that's the end of this, right? We made it through. We did it.
Yeah, yeah, because that's literally how that part ends. Like, they don't need anything. Like, he's just like, he's like, it's very funny. I just like it because it's a little bit of the opposite of what's happening with Nicola and what's her face, where like the Americans just like, please, let's talk about how uncomfortable I am and the things I want, and the foreigner is like, no,
yeah,
I'm good.
Yeah, she's like, and I don't think she's ready for that ring either. Like, they may have been talking for however many years, but she's like, listen, I'm a kid in a candy store right now. I'm talking to all manners of people. I do believe she's talking to other people. And she's like, you come visit me, okay? Like whatever it is. She's already set up the thing where she's not going to have sex with him. So I'm like, if I've been talking to somebody for 2 years and then I go visit them in their country and they tell me that they're not going to have sex with me because of their culture, I'm going to be like, oh, you're not. I don't know if you think I can make several trips over here. I can't. So it's like, how did Tariq get to the Philippines so many times? Did he go more than once? I don't know, but it's expensive. That flight is expensive.
Well, his rap career. Well, obviously.
Okay, yes, you're right.
Come on.
You're right.
He's
Yeah, you're right. All right, you guys. So thank you so much for joining us. This is the end of this podcast. If you guys wanted to see the visuals of what you're
This is
listening
the
to,
end of the podcast? Wow, I did not know, honey. This is how she tells me the end of the whole podcast. Listen, I wasn't prepared for it, but I thought it was just the ep, the whole podcast.
we're coming up on our year, right? What are we gonna do for our year anniversary? Let's talk about it. Okay,
It's
so anyways,
our anniversary.
hey,
We're gonna sing that song.
Anniversary. Okay, you guys come to Patreon. It's a great time. It's $10 a month. Patreon.com/DocuSweeties to see the visuals of what you're listening to right now. And you will also get to join our first Monday of the month live, which is coincidentally happening today. So you're gonna miss that. And Chris is gonna tell you where you can find us on the social medias.
Yes, we exist on social medias, the ones that you are on, such like Instagram at DocuSweeties, or Twitter at DocuSweeties1, or TikTok at DocuSweeties. Thank you so much for listening. If you have not, consider giving us 5 stars. And if you haven't done that, which I just said, give us 5 stars. I don't know, cut that out, Wall. But if you have, great. I love you guys so much.
All right, talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.